This happened to me a few years back. Um, I'd say I was probably like 23, 24 years old at the time. So I used to live in a very old area of Pittsburgh. It was older than the actual city itself. And most of the buildings there, including the one that I lived in at the time, were from the 1800s or older. And I don't really know how to describe this, but the buildings had feelings, or they kind of projected feelings onto me. Like I'd feel really, really overwhelmed out of nowhere sometimes in my apartment or when I went into certain shops in the area. It would be like a really strong, intense passing fear or just sense of dread. And it would be over just as quickly as I felt it, and I just go on with my day. Um, I'm only really bringing that up so you have some background knowledge of me and how I interact with the environment. If I like go into someone's house and I feel something like that, I'm kind of used to that. I don't tell anyone, I don't make a big deal. It's just something that I'm used to happening around me. Now, one thing I'm not used to is getting any sort of like focused emotion or direction. Like it's always just vague dread or fear. There's nothing more to it than that. It doesn't really point me anywhere. So anyway, um, some of my friends were over one night. We'll call them Roger and Mark. We were on the old fire escape on the back of my building, just drinking, looking across the city. We were on the tallest hill, and it was like 4 or 5 stories up. Technically, I guess 5 stories up. And there was a valley, so you could see really, really far. You could see a couple different neighborhoods, including the city itself, from that area. Um, it was a quiet night. It was late fall, so it was kind of cold out, and we were just sitting there, bored, drinking, doing nothing. Too drunk to really go and drive anywhere and do anything, so we decided, let's do some exploration. Why not? Conveniently, there were two buildings across the street from my apartment building that were abandoned. One of them looked like it was kind of being worked on, like it was gutted on the inside, but they were putting walls up or something. And then the other one looked derelict and fire damaged. So we decided we'd go into the first one. It was closer to the street, kind of easier to get to. And we looked up the fire escape. It looked like the only real way in was if you climbed to the top of the fire escape. There was a window on the fourth floor. It was about 4 feet to the left of the fire escape and where the door was that was boarded up. So you kind of have to like jump catty corner, grab the windowsill, and then pull yourself in. So, you know how boys are. My friend Roger went first. He made the jump easily. He kind of laughed at me as he pulled himself in because I was just terrified. Mark went next, and I just about had a heart attack watching him go because he kind of slipped a little bit. And then it was my turn. Now, the guys, they were muscular, athletic. I am not. Even if I made the jump to the window, getting my boobs into it is going to be a problem. And then I just fall down and fail. And yeah. So I'm just sitting there trying not to do this, freaking myself out, looking around. Is there any other way in here? I looked at the door. I'm just not pulling on it, like, just come on, please work. And it actually opened. The boards on the door weren't secured. It looked like, I guess it was just kind of for show. So I laughed. I walked in the building that way and met up with my friends. Now, the place didn't have any interior walls, it just had supports, and it didn't really have like finished floors either. And the only thing that was really dangerous about it was that the stairwell that was sort of in the middle of the building didn't have all of the steps in it. So if we wanted to go down any floors, you'd have to kind of hug the sides in order to not fall down and die. Now, while I was in the building, I felt fine. There wasn't any like random dread, no fear, nothing. It was just an old house. We hung out in there for about an hour and then got bored and decided to go out and see if we could jump from this fire escape over to the next building over, the one that kind of looked like it had burned. The space between the fire escape that we were on and the landing to the next building was maybe like a 3 foot gap with a 4 story fall if you missed. You know, if you made the jump over, you'd land on like a half roof to the story that was there. The other half looked like a small apartment that had a door leading onto the roof, which was maybe used as like a sitting area. Now, that jump across didn't really scare me. I might have weak noodle arms, but my legs are pretty strong. So I got up on the railing and just jumped over. But that roof must have been weak because I kind of fell into it a little bit. My friends were laughing at me. I didn't think it was very funny. Um, but as I got myself untangled, they jumped over too. So the door over there to that, like, kind of half apartment wasn't really a door. It was like a big plank of wood that was kind of nailed down, and it took all three of us to peel it off of there. Um, but as soon as we opened it up, I fell over. I couldn't breathe. It felt like I was underwater. Like I couldn't hear anything. It was muffled. I couldn't even see. I felt just complete, overwhelming terror and sorrow, and it was stronger than anything I'd ever felt. I felt like I would never, ever leave this place. I'm never going to get home. I'm never going to see my family. I felt like I was going to die. I felt completely trapped, but not just like I'm trapped here. I felt like someone was holding me there. I felt like someone was watching me. Roger started shaking me, asking me what's going on, and Mark, who was apparently filming the whole thing on his phone, shoved the camera in my face and started calling me a sissy. He was awesome. But with Roger's help, I got up. I told them both I'm not going in there. I didn't explain why, but I think Roger picked up on what was going on. He knew me pretty well. He helped me back across to the other fire escape, and I just went back to my apartment, figuring you guys can explore it. I'm going to go home. Roger asked me, should I come with you? Do you want company? I just really wanted to be alone. I couldn't stop thinking about that building, what I'd felt there. Like, it was so powerful. I'd never felt anything like that before. I kind of wanted to know what happened there. So, about a week went by, and one night I decided, you know what, I have to go back. I have to see. Did I just have a panic attack? Um, I didn't want to go alone though, so I ended up asking my friend Lily and her girlfriend if they wanted to come over and do some exploring. I didn't tell them about what had happened there before. I guess that was kind of rude of me, but I didn't want to scare them away. They said yes, they came over. It was about 10 at night. And so we went back over there. We climbed up the fire escape to the first building. This time, though, jumping over that gap was kind of terrifying because Lily's girlfriend was kind of a scaredy cat. And so we had to take the board that was on the door and kind of like make a bridge for her and just like it would have been safer for her to jump. That was really, really scary to watch, but we all three made it over. Um, at the entrance this time, I didn't get that overwhelming fear, so we were able to actually kind of venture forth. The place had definitely been gutted by a fire. We didn't actually go in very far because it looked like there were areas where we could probably fall through the floor, and we did not want that to happen. Um, we scanned what was left of the room that we were in, and we kind of all ended up focusing on this little staircase that looked like it had once had like a room underneath it, kind of like in Harry Potter. And that's when it hit. It hit all three of us at once. I don't, it was kind of like a vision, but at least on my part, what I was seeing was what I felt. Uh, I felt like under the staircase, there was very focused sorrow and fear that just consumed everything. The feeling of being trapped and of being small, young, and vulnerable. We we all felt like we were a scared child hiding under the stairs, but we could feel the heat of the fire like it was actually happening right there. Um, I also felt a presence, a very, very dark presence in front of where the entrance to the room under the stairs would be. and it was keeping us under the stairs, watching us burn alive and smiling. I felt like whatever that presence was not human. We were all crying. And as soon as we were able to move, we made ourselves get out of there and get back to my apartment. Now, for my part, I felt everything. It was like being there when it happened, but with my eyes closed. Lily didn't feel anything, but she said that she saw a fire and a dark form laughing at a child that was trapped underneath the stairs. And her girlfriend said that she just felt the overwhelming heat. Between the three of us, I mean, what we gathered together was that it felt like a child had died in that house. Like they had chose to burn alive rather than face whatever that dark form was that was outside of their room. I stopped going into abandoned places after that. Again, I just want to stress I didn't actually like see anything, but I felt everything, and those feelings were very real. And I know they weren't my own. Like, I wasn't having like a mental break. I've never experienced anything like that before that strongly, and I've definitely never had it shared amongst the people around me. So honestly, I always thought I was just a little bit crazy. And maybe I am, but at that point, all three of us would have had to have been. Anyway, thank you very much for listening to my story. I have quite a few of these, sort of along the same vein, and I will try to do one of these a week and then at least three creepypastas. So thanks again for listening. I appreciate it. Sub if you'd like to, and you guys have an awesome day.